Hey guys, welcome back to Race Report. I know you missed us. We're happy to be back. This week we are going to go over Daytona 500, NASCAR back in action, and then also deep dive into F175, the live event, as well as the different livery, race suit, helmet reveals, all of that. So stay tuned. Good stuff coming up.
All right, so before we dive into all of the kind of preseason F1 that has been going on this week, we are going to talk a little bit about the Daytona 500 because we finally have some cars back on track and some seasons are finally starting. The Daytona 500 is one of the biggest races in the NASCAR calendar, but it's also their season opener. So I don't really know why they do that, but it's kind of cool. So there's a new rule this year. I don't really know what the name of the rule is. I'm calling it the 41st car rule, which allows a provisional entry into Daytona 500, basically meaning they don't have to qualify. They're automatically given a spot by a world-class driver, quote unquote. I don't really know what the classifications exactly means by that, but this year it was given to Helio Castroneves, who was an IndyCar driver. He won the Indy 500 four different times, and he was given this opportunity, but he chose to forego the provisional entry and he wanted to earn his way in, which I really respect. But he was involved in a crash kind of early on in practice, and his car wasn't going to be fixed in time to earn a spot. So then he was like, actually, I'm going to use my provisional card, which I don't blame him for that because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to race. This new rule has caused a little bit of drama and discourse in the general racing world, because a lot of people are saying, oh, it's a really cool opportunity to bring new eyes into NASCAR. If you're a big IndyCar, whatever the driver is in the future, it might bring you to watch the 500, but it takes a spot, theoretically can take a spot away from a driver trying to earn their way in who may be faster but doesn't get a spot because this provisional driver has been given a spot. So it's kind of interesting. People have a lot of mixed feelings about it, but it was the first year it happened, so we'll see how this rule goes going forward. Also, there were 7 laps run. The race was supposed to start at 1:30, and they ran about 7 laps and then it started raining. And NASCAR, if you know, they can't run on super speedways during the rain. They used to not run in the rain at all, but now they have rain tires for road courses, and then sometimes they'll do it for the short ovals. But super speedways, it's way too dangerous. So then they red flagged the race for 4 or 5 hours and eventually got running that night. They tried to restart it, and then it started to rain again, and they were like, never mind. And then they had to try it one more time. There were a few kind of cautions in stage 1 and 2, but it was very uneventful overall. Stage 3 was a hot mess, but very fun to watch. There was a late caution around lap 37. So all the drivers came in to pit and refuel. So basically from then on to the checkered was no fuel saving, no tire saving, just everyone going full send, which made it very, very interesting. With about 15 laps to go, there was an incident up at the front with Joey Logano and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Both didn't give each other enough space, which kind of pushing until it eventually caused a collision and took out a bunch of the people in the front. So a bunch of the potential winners were taken out with that incident. And then another incident with 5 laps to go, Christopher Bell, who was also pretty close to the front, hit into the wall, which caused this major domino effect all the way through the back of the field, taking out probably, I think, 8 or 9 drivers got some form of damage. But the biggest one that I'm sure most people have seen this on Instagram was what happened to Ryan Preece. It got hit, and it didn't look like that big of an impact at first, but his car went airborne, flipped in the air, and then he was rolling. And it was watching it a very scary wreck. All the commentators kind of got quiet, is he okay? What's happening? And he put his, I don't know what the net on their window is called, but basically if you put that down after a wreck, it shows that you're okay. So they were just waiting for that, and he thankfully was okay, but it was a very scary crash that could have definitely ended differently. And watching his interview after, it was so sad. He was all I could think about was my little girl. So I'm really glad he's okay. But this then caused the race to go into overtime because NASCAR does not ever like to end on a caution, especially during a big race. So overtime, basically a 2-lap shootout. And Austin Cindric and Denny Hamlin were kind of literally neck and neck the entire first lap, but Cindric was leading after the first lap, happened. And basically, overtime rules are whatever, after one lap is run under a green, whatever the next flag that happens ends the race. So whether that's the checkered flag or a yellow flag or a red flag, whatever. So if a yellow flag had happened in lap 2 and Cedric was leading after lap 1, he would be the winner. So in lap 2, there was an incident in the back of the field, but they didn't throw a yellow. They left it green and just let them kind of finish out the race. But because of that, it resulted in William Byron sneaking through and claiming the win, which I was disappointed by because I really wanted Austin Cedric to win. And William Byron won it last year. So he won a back-to-back title, which is impressive. So good for him. Congrats. But it's not who I wanted to win.
I love the fact that Kaylee's man Ricky
He's always causing some kind of drama.
always involved in some kind of problem. Also, speaking of Kaylee, if any of y'all notice, unfortunately, she is unable to grace us with her presence tonight. So she's not feeling super well. We're wishing her lots of love and a very quick recovery. But
Yes.
she better be on the next one. So, for the first time in the history of Formula One, we have had a joint launch with all of the teams included, all of the drivers present. And going into it, I didn't really know what to expect. I was like, okay, just another silly F1 thing that they're trying to do. And it's a big dog and a pony show, and they're being dramatic. And any excuse to charge money for a ticket, they're going to jump on. Did I love it? No. Did I hate it? Surprisingly, also no. I was like pleasantly like teetering the whole time between like, I like this is really weird. Like, you know that feeling when you continue to watch something because there's so much cringe factor that you can't
Yeah,
turn
you
away.
can't pull. It's like a train wreck that you just have to keep watching because it's
Yeah,
like, well,
that's
maybe
what it
it'll
felt
get
like.
good, but if it gets worse, like I'm still definitely gonna watch because it's highly
Because it'll be
amusing.
bad.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was like very, like I wasn't expecting great things, but it was very F1 of them. Like it was very
Yeah.
over the top for no reason, but also very underwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, the performers that they had, I was like, okay, I guess. Jack Whitehall was everything you expected him to be.
Oh my gosh.
He literally from the jump, like it felt
So
to me
good.
at some points more like a Comedy Central roast
Yes, it was
than
like
like
the
an
roast of
actual
F1.
presentation. Yeah. He goes right in talking about Charles and like all of the drivers that he finds attractive. And I was just like, this is not good for them. Like, I know these drivers and this kind of attention, a lot of them are introverts. Like, they just get in
Yeah.
a car and mind their business. The like public spotlight on them in that moment, half of them look like they wanted to crawl out of their skin and like die.
It was too good. Like when he was talking about Max, like, and Max is just so happy to be here. And then like pans and zooms in on him. Just, I love how uncomfortable he made everyone he was talking about feel because it was so good. And I saw a lot of people before the event being like Americans being like, and they have this random comedian that's going to host. Like, who even is this? And I was like, who even is
What?
this? Like, you don't know who Jack Whitehall is? I was so that's what made me so excited because I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch it, whatever. And then they announced that, and I'm like, I'm tuning into this.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a great job. It was very surprising that F1 chose him to host, especially with their whole like no swearing and like trying to be so, you know how F1 is. And has like, yes, and he has just like very like roast crass like British
Crude
humor as he
right.
showed crew. Yeah, and it was just very surprising, but like I'm very happy they made that choice. I feel like it had to have been some Gen Z intern that like tricked them into being like, you should hire this guy.
Especially
But it
too,
was
like
so good.
his set or like whatever was so up to date on like current information.
Yeah,
Like we only
he
got the
researched.
swearing announcement stuff in the last couple weeks and he like knew his stuff. So I like
Mm-hmm.
really appreciated that. I think my first like big ick moment that I had was very early on when Machine Gun Kelly was performing and I literally texted you guys in the group chat and I said, not the first female representation being a guitarist on stage in a bra.
Yeah.
Because I think that is something that absolutely has to be called out is the fact that in the entire lineup of musicians and host and whatnot. Like literally not a single woman.
Yeah. I mean, it
That
was just
F
the two F1 TV
specifically brought in.
presenters. Yeah.
Exactly. Which even they got roasted. Or no, I think I saw it after the fact that people were roasting them. They're like, wow, and boring presenters because Will Buxton's gone to IndyCar. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
That's true, because I was like, wait, because that new girl, I don't even remember her name, and I was like, I don't know
Is it
this girl, and then I was like,
Ariana?
wait, I think so, because I was like, oh
Ariana
wait, Will
Bravo
Buxton
or something?
doesn't work there anymore.
Yeah, the F1 TV presenters. I think Laura Winter did a great job. I always think she does a good job.
Yeah, I really like her.
I still think Lawrence Barretto has like some room to grow because like I mean his
Yeah.
whole personality is he's very kind of like awkward and like nerdy, very sweet, but like you are the media. Like you need to
Yeah. I feel like he
become
does a good
very
job
comfortable.
on the broadcasts, like where he's just standing in the paddock or you don't even see him, but like in a big crowd like that, he doesn't really know how to feed off the crowd and like kind of work the crowd. Whereas Laura does more of like she'll be on the fan stages and like is used to more of that like crowd interaction. But I think
And
especially now with Will being gone, he has to kind of like fill that role. So I think as the season goes on, he'll get better at that.
and he's a great interviewer. Like I've seen a bunch of his different interviews, and so I feel like in that kind of scenario where he has a more prepped like set of material and it's more like a discussion back and forth, he excels at. But kind of just like talking to the ether maybe is not. Machine Gun Kelly and Kane Brown both did songs that were just like loosely related to cars. I was like, really? At that point, can't you get like Rascal Flatts' Life is a Highway?
Yeah, something
Or like
that's like
I saw something that someone was like, this is where we need Tate McRae's sports car, and I was like,
yes, that would have been so good.
Fit so well.
Or just like some DJ playing the Max Verstappen song.
Yes. Well, apparently the DJ that they had is the DJ who wrote the F1
F1 theme song.
But
he wasn't
versus what we were given, I was like, what is that?
I feel like he should have just done a remix of the F1 theme and DJ'd that, but they didn't ask me.
Some like air horns. I don't know. I did appreciate too. I was really happy that they did the whole show in like reverse constructors order because it made it very easy to follow along with like, okay, this is who's going to be next. Also, like, brilliant tactic to keep people watching to the end because they want to see Ferrari and they want to see McLaren.
And I appreciated how fast they went through stuff. They didn't drag. Like, I was expecting it to be a lot longer. And I'm glad it wasn't, because that would have been
thank
painful.
God. If it was like 3 or 4 hours, it would just be ridiculous.
But I saw...
and wasteful.
Yeah, I saw someone online, it might have been Emma, who was talking about how it literally seems like everyone in a group presentation sent in one slide, but they didn't talk about it first. And so then they put the presentation together, and it was just like all over the place. And that very much sums up exactly what it was, because it was not cohesive team to team at all. It was like, oh, okay,
but I kind of appreciated that in a weird way. Like, I mean, there were some that I was like, this is bad, but like, I liked that different teams did like slightly different things because it felt like you're not having to watch the same thing over and over again. Like, I loved V-Carbs where they had the guy going around asking, like, do you know Visa Cash App Racing Bulls? I thought that was really clever and, like, cute. And then to have him go out on the stage with them, because he was also very dynamic and, like, fun to listen to with a team where, I mean, I think neither of the drivers' first languages are English, and neither the, like, CEO nor team principal's first language is English. So I think that was really, like, beneficial and helpful for them, that he was kind of like waving the flag for them and communicating outward, and they were like, we did it, guys.
I like how they played off the fact that everyone jokes about how ridiculous their name is. Like, it was very self-aware humor, which I love. It's like, we know this is ridiculous, and so like we're in on the joke too. So that, I thought that was funny.
And it spoke exactly to like what the team principal said when he was talking about the livery in their launch, is that like they want to bring fun into the space. They want
Mm-hmm.
their team to be like exciting to watch and entertaining and fun, and like their whole presentation was that.
Yeah. No, I did enjoy that. I think my favorite was Aston Martin, though. That was
Absolutely.
so on brand for them. Just, I mean, because Aston
So
Martin
drama.
is James Bond. Like, when you think of James Bond, you think of Aston Martin. When you think of Aston Martin, you think of James Bond. Like, that whole
Synonymous.
intro, and then them, like, with the lights trying to find, and then Fernando and Lance are, like, in the crowd with their helmets
With the
on when they
helmets
come
on
down.
was so
That was
good.
so
I
good.
saw one clip where there's like a girl in the crowd and she realizes that it's the driver's like right next to her and her face is just like
What's
shocked. And
happening?
I could not
Yeah.
stop laughing. And then somehow for them to get from there in their like dress suits and the helmets, and then they bop off to wherever during the performance and are still able to like make it out in time in their suits.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive. I want to know who is the person having to run them through hallways like around the back of the arena to get to
Yeah.
places on time.
They were there. It was so good. That the singer, I forget her name. I'm terrible with people's names, but she was really
Thames.
good. Yes, she was so good. Just the whole, it was so on brand for Aston Martin, and I was very impressed by it. Because Aston Martin can sometimes be underwhelming, and they
Yeah.
did a very good job of being like sticking in people's minds with what they did.
I mean, I think we've discussed it in the past. Like, Aston Martin has such a fun, like, social media presence, especially like the stuff that they do with Fernando. Like, we're always talking about how, like, okay, their admins are like, they
Yes.
get it. But sometimes, too, I think people have a really hard time feeling like connected to them and their brand
Mm-hmm.
because their like fan aspect is so much more disconnected than it is
Yes.
with a lot of the other teams. So I felt like this was like a moment that people were like, Aston Martin.
It's like, oh, okay. I was not familiar with your
Okay.
game, Aston.
I know. I wish they had shown up with Adrian Newey. That would have been crazy.
Yeah. Or if they got one of the Bond actors down there with them, that would have been really cool.
Yeah. Ugh. I'm trying to think. Stakes was, I was like, what is this drumline? Are we going to get this for everybody? And then I was very
Yeah.
relieved that it wasn't like a consistent thing. I liked the Williams.
Yeah, I liked their
I
little
think,
like video about heritage and all that, but it was just like it was just like basic, but not bad,
yeah.
but just like, okay. James Vowles, love him. Loved the like
Yeah.
swagger catwalk that
He
they
was
all had
so
coming down.
sweet. My
Literally.
favorite part was them like taking a selfie together. And too like being able to see like how quickly Carlos has gotten comfortable in that team and how like
Mm-hmm.
they all seem already like really close and like bonded, and I think that's really
Mm-hmm.
healthy because we've all been like, oh, like Carlos is going to be the downfall of Albon, like da 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 da. And then I forget who said it, but it might have been James in an interview recently where he even said like Alex was part of the decision making process. Like
Yeah.
he told us like, yes, bring Carlos on. That's a great idea. And I think that
I
just goes
think
to show like what a representation for the team Albon is and how devoted he is
mhm.
to building it back up to its glory.
Exactly. And I think they're all like serious in like wanting to do the best for the team and like all that, but they're also all very laid back people. Like, and so I think that also has helped just like the dynamic of everything. Like Carlos and Alex are both very silly goofy, but then also can be serious when they need to be. So I think that like
Right.
their dynamic together, they're very similar, so it like works well from the clips and stuff I've seen of them.
Right. And too, like, I think they're all able to recognize, like, I may excel, like, really well in one area, but there are things I might lack in. In, like, the
Mhm.
example of, like, Carlos got in the shakedown testing runs at the end of last season and was actively giving, like, feedback that has been
Yeah.
significantly helpful. And the both of them have said, like, or Alex even said, like, this car is an improvement from last year. Like,
Mhm.
I've been in it, it's good. And I think that's major. And if that's something that they didn't have internally that finding Carlos is going to help them with, then
Yes.
awesome. I just would love to see him on a podium, please and thank you.
Please.
I'd love to see Albon
Please,
on a
please, please.
podium,
I
please and
know,
thank you.
like just some midfield guys on the podium. It's all I really want in this season.
Yeah,
Please.
I think I think it could happen.
I
Like
think
it
so
was
too.
said,
I'm hopeful.
I mean, F1 even said like it's anyone's game this year.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually like really true.
It is true. Especially after what we had this past season that no one expected. It's like now it's just like I'm expecting literally the most ridiculous stuff to happen now. Like I'm like won't be surprised by any result at this point. So yes. I'm very excited.
V-carb launch, loved. We kind of touched on that earlier. Isaac Hadjar pulling the thing back on the car and going, ooh. New favorite meme, gonna use it everywhere. And then the Alpine finally aesthetically serving us what we've been asking for.
Yes, finally some more pink, which I appreciate.
Yes, and we'll touch, I mean, again, kind of more deeply on all of this later. If you are listening, just keep in mind, if you do want to see a full play-by-play, we do also offer this podcast in video format on our YouTube channel. So you can always take a trip over there, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a comment. We would love to read your comments. Please and thank you.
Yes.
I'm trying to think. The Red Bull reveal was embarrassing to watch.
Yeah.
Head to toe. The best part of their reveal was Christian Horner getting booed by the public.
That was so...
I wish there had been like a camera recording of like the drivers' reactions to it. Because I saw one that was a clip of when they booed the FIA later on, where you can literally see Oscar's jaw drop, and then he puts his hand over his mouth, and then Lando turns and looks at him, and I was like, these two idiots.
It was so good.
So good.
Speaking of Red Bull, this has nothing to do with their launch, but it has everything to do with Liam Lawson. What event was he dressing for? Because it wasn't the same memo that everyone else got. Was it like a joke? Like, welcome to the team. We're going to tell you the absolute wrong dress code so you show up looking stupid? Or was it like... Too,
I feel bad because it's a great outfit and it fit him like really well. I loved it.
Was a good fit, but I was like...
It's not for that.
It like literally feels like he was pranked. It feels like you're the freshman on like the hockey team and like we're telling you the wrong info so you show up to like your first game looking like an absolute dweeb. Like that's the energy I got from that. So
like, oh, are we wearing the home or away jerseys tomorrow? Oh, we're wearing the away jerseys. It's a home game.
Literally. I was like, that the memes coming out from that are so good. So good.
I also feel like, in my opinion, like Max has had a lot of teammates over the years. This is like one of the teammates I feel that he is like least connected to.
Yeah.
Like I just don't see that like at least he even felt comfortable around Checo. We know how we felt about Daniel. But like it looks like him and Liam Lawson are like, let's keep at least a 10-foot distance between us at all times.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see how the dynamic goes as the season goes on.
Yeah. But the real thing that I hated about their entire thing, whatever that, like, the crowd coming out behind them was so bad. And there was one guy, like, really close behind Liam whose, like, face, I was like, dude, stop.
It was like, so strange.
Down.
I was like, it just don't get what's happening here.
We couldn't go for like a Red Bull gives you wings kind of moment. We had to go for this weird, like, the like bumping car. It just doesn't. Red Bull as a brand encompasses so much. It's a energy drink. It's a high performance athlete brand that spans multiple different sports. Like Red Bull is to the extreme, and we couldn't figure something else better. You could have gone Lightning McQueen on it because of Liam.
I mean, we could have gone like Lewis era McLaren when he comes down in like a harness from the sky. Like we could have just done that with wings. Max Verstappen coming down in a harness, like,
and there's a lion behind him.
He has wings, and he's like riding a giant Red Bull can.
Right, or even you play it like a more sophisticated route. You could have like freaking ballet dancers with like wings on.
Or just something that encompasses, or even just having, like, instead of a bunch of random people come out, have a bunch of the Red Bull athletes there. Like, if you want a bunch of people on stage, have them all be Red Bull athletes from other sports.
Or if you're gonna do something like that, maybe do like a dance crew, like like the Jabberwockies and like that. Like
Yeah. Well, Red Bull
have them
sponsors a
come
bunch of
out.
those type of dance squads.
Right.
Like they could
So
have
instead of
had
these
Red Bull
people
dancers.
like awkwardly walking,
Yeah,
they
they could
could
have had like a
have
hip hop performance going on. But no,
they missed the mark
they really
entirely.
did.
Like
It was,
absolutely entirely. Ferrari. I think everything about theirs was beautiful. I
yeah.
loved the homage to Enzo Ferrari. I loved the like structural drawings and how they kept like
Mhm.
shifting and changing. Their entrances to the event alone, getting out of the Ferrari together as a
Yeah,
team.
so
I
good.
love that. Fred Vasseur, you evil, evil genius of a man. I could kiss your bald little head. I literally could. Lewis looked to die for.
Oh my gosh, Lewis looked incredible. Charles should never wear that double-breasted suit ever again. Why did they keep letting him put that on? I
It was
don't
custom.
understand.
Both, I saw it today, both of their outfits were custom Ferrari style designs.
Okay, so
And they love,
they must hate Charles or something because they keep putting him in that stupid suit
it's always
and
it's
it never
always the
looks
double
good
breasted.
and
And
it
he
does
always
not
looks
suit
so
him.
much better in a regular one.
Yeah, it makes
If
him
he
look
was
so
wearing
wide everywhere when he wears that.
here, like
Yeah. I'm
he
like, we
looks
know
like
you're
he
not
has a big
wide.
old belly.
Yeah, and it just like makes him look like a triangle. Not a triangle, a rectangle. Like, mm-mm.
I did the one exception that I will make to not really loving Charles' outfit was the details
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of the tie,
Yeah, with the little horses.
expensive, really beautiful, and that brooch or like lapel
Yeah,
pin.
loved that.
Ferrari style, can you actually like make and sell those, please? Because I would go bankrupt to buy one. Ferrari reveal, beautiful, masterful art.
Very on
I
brand for
really
them.
liked Charles talking about how like it's an honor. Like that's the word that he would use to describe like this man has been so media trained by them. Like he goes home and he has a Ferrari Bible under his pillow.
He like,
They
yeah.
he is like the perfect humanization of what Ferrari wanted in a driver, and they got him. Um,
Yeah. They've been
Lewis
molding
as well.
him for a while.
I felt like Lewis did a really good job staying like humble and like not being like I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna show everybody who's boss and I'm gonna win everything. He like really took the moment to be like, I'm a team player. I want our team to succeed. Like I've never been more excited for an opportunity in my life. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is as important to me as an individual and is like sentimental to me in the same way like, it's important to the fans that we succeed.
Yes.
So please be fast.
I
Please
know.
be fast.
Especially, like, they're giving me so much hope, too. Like, the clip where someone asked Charles, like, do you think that you could win both titles? And he's like, last year I would have told you no, but this year, yes. Like, I can
This
see us
year.
winning both. And I'm
Yeah.
like, do not play with my feelings and then come Australia, you're fourth and fifth. Thank you. Like,
Well,
no.
did you hear about his lap time at Fiorano today?
Mm-mm.
He did like a 56-second lap, 1 second faster, like a whole second faster than the previous car.
Oh, well, that's hopeful. We just have to hope that it doesn't, like, engine blow up
Explode.
halfway through the season. Like, how, like, 2020 season,
Over
like,
and
they
over
were off to
again.
such a great start. And then engine failure. So
Engine failure. Gearbox.
I'm like hoping for the best, but
Optimistic.
expecting the worst at the same time. Like it's Ferrari. So I just have to keep reminding myself that.
Yeah, don't count your eggs before they hatch, or your chickens before they hatch. And then we
Like, I'm
finished
still
out the
delusional,
show,
but
always Delulu, Solulu. To everyone in our comment section that's like, you guys are out of your minds. Yeah, we are.
yeah,
And
we know. We're self-aware about that.
right, every hot take I say is in good faith. It is not to like meme on you guys or like dunk on you. Back off.
Yeah, I don't think I know anything more. I'm just completely delusional and like truly believe that Carlos Sainz is gonna get a podium this year.
I'm here for a good time. Like,
Yeah. Why not be
why
silly
can't we have
goofy about
fun?
it? Why do you have to be serious all the time?
I loved the setup for McLaren's, like the moving through the cars through the ages.
Mm-hmm.
Loved the messaging in all of the videos. Like, all of that was really cute. Love the drivers. They both looked delicious. Yes, I
But it
only
was
watch F1 because I
literally,
like the way they look.
but it was literally like that meme. Like, I hope you're hungry for
For
nothing.
nothing.
Like
Right.
this
And then
big lead up for the exact same car, the exact same suits.
I could not get over Zach Brown where he was standing on the stage like talking. He's behind the trophy, so you can't see him in the video clip. And then Andrea Stella being like, "We wanted to pay homage to our championship winning car." And I'm like, "So you just took the design from last year and
And
did it again?"
put it on the new car. I was
Like, your
like,
suits look the
wow.
same, your car looks the same, Lando's
And it
probably
was
gonna
the
look
suits
the
that
same.
everyone hated too. And they're like, oh, everyone hated them. Let's do them again. And let's put them on the IndyCar drivers too.
The thing that bothered me the most too was we got so gaslit by their test run stuff that they did because they were in just
Yes,
like the
the all
all
black.
black unbranded suits. And then that stealth mode livery was like, I want merch with that on it. That
Yeah.
print and that pattern is so good. And I get that you can't do the entire car like that because of your sponsor stickers and whatnot, but like you could definitely do like a curve of the car with that and then do either like all papaya or all black.
Hopefully they'll have like a special livery
Their special
this year.
liveries are usually pretty good.
Yeah. And they had a
But it
couple
felt
really
like
good
it,
ones last year.
yeah, like such a tease. It's the same way like last year leading up to Monaco, they were releasing all of that like white and red merch. Like we were
Mm-hmm.
gonna get the like red and white livery again. And
And then no.
I love Ayrton Senna. I love
But
you.
I was
But
expecting this.
I was
And they
expecting
did
red and
not give me
white, and then
that.
we got yellow.
Yeah.
And those yellow suits were fugly. They
Yeah. They
all
looked like
agreed.
Sprite cans. But
They
you know,
did.
they tried. They tried. It's okay.
But I know that we've talked about the event. I think now is a good time for like a show and tell and kind of just like touch on any things that we kind of missed. Um, but before we do that, like if you had to give the event a ranking on a scale of like 1 to 10, where would you rank it?
I mean, that's hard. Like maybe a 6.73.
I was going to
That's
say like a
like
7.
I couldn't quite give it a 7, but so that's why I'm like almost at a 7.
I would
6.73.
say it beat my expectations,
Yeah.
but I just don't necessarily think that kind of like presentation is necessary. Maybe I guess if you do it only on like anniversaries, fine. But like if they tried to start doing this every single year, I would honestly be
Yeah.
kind of annoyed with it.
Yeah.
Because it's
Like I
just
do
like,
get for 75th year or whatever, but they don't need to do this again until 25 years
no,
later.
no. And I like when the teams do their own things because, you know, I've benefited from it. I got to go to the Williams car launch last year and I stood outside in the freezing cold in New York all day, but it was worth it. And it was like really cool because the teams are then able to do stuff that's engaging with fans or done in an artistic way or whatever. Like Red Bull loves to do show runs of their cars all over the globe. And so when you're forcing everyone into this like group event, it's just like, okay, like we all know that they're there because they have to be there, not
Yeah.
because they want to be. Versus like when they do their small little team thing, they're like hype about it.
Yeah.
They're like, cool, car
Definitely.
launch. But
But
okay,
yeah, overall, not as bad as I expected.
I think if this is to happen again in the near future, the performers selected need to be like,
Yeah. We
there's
gotta
just
do better.
so many better options they could have done, and
Just
that's
anyone
all I have to say
else.
about it.
And
Just
just anyone
literally,
else.
even to I forget who the last act was. I was like, I don't know. I guess they're
It was
like
some like British band
really
that was big
famous
forever ago. Like
that
it's
my
like a
parents might know.
yeah.
it just felt dated. Like even to like Machine Gun Kelly and like Kane Brown are like still kind of dated artists.
Yeah, like I was like, I couldn't tell you any songs by any of these people. Like I recognize the names, and that's like the extent of what I recognize about them.
Right. What I'm expecting is the musicians that are used in all of the edits that I watch online, but on stage.
Exactly. Where's Tate McRae? Hello.
Kendrick Lamar, instead of doing the Super Bowl, will you do the next F1 launch event?
Please.
Because you would eat that up.
So
They
good.
love drama, and you are the drama.
Hey guys, so if you've gotten to the end of this podcast, the audio version, just to let you know, we do have a whole part 2 over on our YouTube channel where we go through all the new car liveries and drivers' helmet designs and the race suits and rate them, and we kind of have the visuals up on the screen as well. But obviously that wouldn't translate very well into the audio format. So if you would like to go listen to part 2, it'll be on our YouTube channel, Race Report Motorsports, and we will also link it in the show notes of this episode. Thanks. Bye.